And I said, honey, I've seen darning needles bigger than that thing. And oh, hi there. Sorry about that. Didn't see ya. Welcome back to another Cold Blood Cocktails. As you beautiful people know, any tip you may have, please cast it away because this is a channel of positivity. Okay. Hi, how's it going? How long's it been? It's been a long time. Hi. Honestly, I'm not back, but we are temporarily back. You'll see me fluttering in every now and again. Before we get too far into this, we have today's drink. We have the Barbella Blood Orange Negroni, except I don't have blood orange. Alright, so you're gonna put ice in a shaker and pour in 1 ounce each of Campari, sweet vermouth, fresh blood orange juice, and either gin or vodka. Shake it, strain it, sip it, bop it, and there you go. That's alcohol. All right. Also, I don't know if you can see the highlight betwixt my eye and my beard. Can you see that bullshit? Oh, yes. And do you see this beautiful bloody lipstick? This is all by me. Oh, what? Yes, that's true. Literally the only thing that you've seen of me for the past year is my makeup stuff. Sorry about that, but it is what the fuck I've been up to. If you haven't seen, my sister company to Poplux is Repop, and it's basically repurposed Poplux. I'm taking all of the pigments and everything that I had from Poplux, and I'm making beautiful makeup with this, like this lipstick, this highlighter. There's going to be skincare, body care, there's going to be household items, literally everything. And it did start off as just me using the pigments and stuff from my Poplux company, but now Repop is just snowballed into its own thing. And so yeah, if you're curious, it's repopcosmetics.com. Y'all, February's launch was Bloody Valentine. I went fucking in on the photographs, and like everything with this is just me. I do all the pictures, they're self-portraits. I make all this makeup by hand. Like what you are getting is from me. It's small batches, it's made with love, and it's me. So like there's good quality behind it, you know? I'm very proud of these. Ooh, who is she? So comfortable. Well, thank you for listening to that. Should we get into today's story? Jeez Louise. And I know there's a woolly mammoth-sized elephant in the room. I will talk about where I've been, what I'm doing, where I'm going, but now it's not the time and place. We'll do that in a vlog. Okay? Okay. I may have been gone, but not much has changed. Okay, last thing I promise. I wish you could see my outfit. I'm wearing an entire Victorian fucking dress. It's complete with a huge hoop skirt that I don't have in. Picked out these earrings with a wonderful friend at a drag shop in Chicago. Like, this really is a fucking good costume. I might have to be this for Halloween so you can really see it. Okay, so today's case is a controversial and electrifying tale, like literally. Maria Barbella, other than having a name that's just really fucking fun to say, was one of the first women ever to be convicted of death by electric chair. What an accomplishment! But honey, do not fear, there was quite the twist for Miss Barbella. A titty twist, one might say. Barbella. What a great name. Barbella butters blueberry brickle, but also bites butts. 10 points if you can say that with a dick in your mouth. Also, you can't see it, but I'm actually leaning on a mattress, so if you see me kind of like leaning over a little, I'm just getting comfy. Cut me some slack, I'm sitting on a backless stool. Anyways, this case really was a wild ride because a lot of people justified what she did. So like, do we praise her and give her a statue, or do we electrocute her? Let's swing the shit show back to the beginning in October of 1869 when a steaming Maria popped out of the comfort of her mom's womb. It was Italy, the grapevines were juicy, and the air was thick with the smell of morning biscotti and Cabernet. And life was good for Maria. She'd milk her cow every morning. Me too, Maria. She'd help her mom at the laundromat, she'd do her studies, and was tucked in each evening by 9:30. You get on that sleep schedule, Maria. I'll have a drink. Nom 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 nom. Ooh, yes, this is cutting off circulation. Who needs that? At some point, though, Maria's family decided that the luster of the United States of gay was just too bright to ignore. So they packed their bags, boarded a ship, and made their way over here to the States. Early one morning, as the sun was rising, the family awoke on the ship to take their first glance at their new life. The statue of Lady Liberty just longing to show some leg. They found an apartment in the little Italian section of New York back when it wasn't $5,000 for a closet-sized studio with a rollaway. This was a totally new experience for them. The language was different. The boys were cute, a little bit greasy and dirty, but the people were welcoming and the town was bustling. The city wasn't yet known by everyone as the land of opportunity, but shit, her family could work with this. And they all immediately found jobs so they could start supporting each other. Maria found that she was exceptionally good with her fingers, so she found herself in a back room behind a curtain as a seamstress. And then she worked her way out of that closet into a whole damn factory. Like, she was good. Oh my god, don't spill the drink. Well, madam, one day this handsome gentleman came into the sewing factory shop and Maria's ovaries did a double take. This man had the most beautiful Italian eyes, curly dark hair, and olive skin. Just melt me. Maria and I are on the same page. It's a good thing she was wearing 2 girdles and 3 petticoats that day, otherwise there would have been puddles around her buckle boots. This fine gent needed a dress hemmed, which he explained was for his younger sister. And she's like, oh, well, how stinking cute is that? He's a family man. man. Clearly he's got a soft side, and man, did that make Maria's whistle blow. In his name, Domenico, oh, that was just as sexy as his face. And Maria thought, oh, if I don't get married to this man and use his face as a bar stool sometime soon, I'll go crazy. Oh, God. Whew, golly. Anyways, the entire time she was stitching the dress hem, all she could think about was wedding bells and her future with this unknown, beautiful man. Well, on Maria's lunch break, she just happened to pass a shoe-shining booth and oop, there's good old Dom. She stops and says, well, hi, sweetie, are you a Dom top? He was sweet and nice, and they had a lovely conversation. He was single, looking to mingle, and what do you know, so was she. After that, she skipped on back to work, finishing the hem of Dom's sister's dress, once again hoping against all hope that Dom would ask her to marry him someday. And honey, don't ever diss the power of thought, because later that day when he came back in to pick the dress up, what the fuck do you know? Well, Dom came in with a letter for her proclaiming how gorgeous he thought she was, and if she was willing to be courted, he'd love to have her. Oh, that lucky little bitch, thought all the other ladies in the factory. Well, thought Maria, it has nothing to do with luck. Of course he wants a piece of this. Yes, I'll let you court me. Took you long enough, stud. She currently had a bolt of fabric between her legs, trying to contain Niagara as if her ass would say no. On the daily, either Dom would stop into the factory to say hello to Maria, or Maria would stop and bring she and Dom salami sandwiches at a shoe-shining station. They talk about animals, politics, life back at home. They were both from the same village back in Italy, and what were the chances that they'd meet all the way out here in America? Months go by and the feelings only became more erect. Did I use that right? Lunches at the shoe-shining station turned into hand-holding while walking in the park. This was just right out of a Taylor Swift song. Oh gosh, we have to adjust this. Ugh. And all while this is happening, Maria's parents are none the wiser because her dad probably would have chopped off Dom's diddy-dum-dum had he known of the courtship. Of course, eventually her father did find out about Dom and turned inside out from his urethra from fury. He forbade Dom and Maria from ever seeing, speaking to, or sending naughty telegrams to each other ever again. Does thy petticoat match thy drapes? Stop! Woohoo! Her father was furious and had to wipe the foam off his mouth just to yell at her some more. Her dad could piss on her fire all he wanted, but she'd just use it as gasoline. Dom seemed to feel the same way. He'd send her secret love notes, he'd throw little pebbles at her apartment window at all hours of the night, hoping for something sweet, like a moonlit titty flash. How romantic. Ugh. Sweet. Young fucking love. No drug like it. Except ecstasy. Unfortunately for Dom, though, there was nary a titty flash because Maria had very strong morals and feelings about intimacy and marriage. She was an Italian woman after all, and those old world Italians would rather die than go against their traditions. I saw an Italian lady shoot somebody for cutting their spaghetti. They mean business. No nookie for your cookie, you dirty Dom. He'd be like, honey, maybe just a little bit of brain on the balcony, maybe? And she'd say, honey, put your olives back in the jar, not till marriage. Jeez. But he did continue to pursue the fuck out of her, even if he couldn't get a fuck out of her. She agreed to meet him again without her dad knowing. They went and had pork chops at a nice restaurant, walked under the stars, and eventually he convinced her to join him for a drink over at his boarding house. Her gut said no, but something about this man just made her feel so comfy. This was their umpteenth date. Dom seemed pretty respectful, so she said, hell yes, I'd love a limoncello. Make it a double, daddy. So she goes up to the boarding room. Everything is lovely. She's having a drink, but then one drink turns into two, and then two into three. And despite her continuing to say no thank you after each drink, she somehow ended up with a cocktail glass in both hands. As liquor kind of does, these drinks that she thought were just kind of creeping along were fully in control now, and she was just kind of losing it. Dominic had purposefully gotten her drunk, probably mixed in some drugs, and she was starting to realize that her being in this room was a huge mistake. She was in a strange place, the world was spinning, and before she knew it, the dimly lit room was completely black and as lifeless as she now was. Maria could hear Dom saying, "Are you okay?" but she couldn't respond. She could feel Dom's fingers caressing up the front of her arms, make their way to her shoulders, then come back down her front. She couldn't do anything. This wasn't romantic anymore. This was every woman's biggest fear. She was coming in and out of consciousness, and every single blink seemed to pass minutes by. Dom had his linen shirt on, and next blink, he didn't. Maria could hear the clanking of his belt being taken off and the thud of it falling to the floor, and she continued slipping in and out of reality, holding back tears, vomit, and just filling with regret. She was ashamed of how she went against her gut, but how could she have known? At this point, this man was her beloved, except people who love you don't assault you. But the deed was done. And because of Maria's virginity values, she said, we have to get married to make this right. Which I'm not here to judge, but I don't think marrying your sexual assaulter is always the right answer. In fact, I don't know if it ever is. But also, this was 120 years ago. Times were much freaking different. And Dom said, I'll think about marrying you. And I guess the excitement over the prospect of being proposed to canceled out the incident at the boarding house. Again, Megan makes sense. But if you've ever been in a fucked up relationship, you'll probably recognize how twisted your mind gets. Believe me, yeah. Hold on, we need a drop. With this promise of marriage also came the promise of living together, which seemed to happen first. Maria's just making her own moral rules up as she goes. So yes, not only had Maria's apple been picked by this man, but she was living out of wedlock with him. All of which she still kept from her parents somehow. But things actually seemed lovely together. She'd work her job, come home, and have a bit of time for a little cocktail and a bubble bath. Then he'd come home, join her for a cocktail, and they'd talk about their day. It's like they were already married, even to the point where there was no sex. But the honeymoon phase of their pre-honeymoon was wearing off fast and furiously. Soon, Dom was coming home later and later, blaming it on staff reductions at the office. She's like, bitch, you're self-employed at a shoe stand. What office? What staff? Till one day on a rainy April Tuesday, he threw his hands up and he said, you know what? I don't think I can marry you. But I love you so much, so why don't I find you a nice man to marry? And you'll marry him because I want you to, and then I'll come visit you while you're at work. I can tell him you're a widow. I'll even buy you a black dress, maybe matching veil and panty set. How about that? Which suspicious shock. Can we break down what he's saying? He's basically wanting to sell Maria off, but hoping she'll cheat on whoever the buyer is so that he can flitter in and out to get his rocks off. What? I mean, what? Men. Who needs them? Well, Maria didn't think much of this idea. She had never ever been loved before, and now that she had found love, she felt like it was kind of a sham. Maria felt used by this man for her body. He never cared about her. I think looking at it from the outside, we all could have deduced that ages ago. But love makes you blind, and now she was miraculously able to see. At least it happened at some point, girl. She finally confides in her best friend and just spills the beans about everything, tells her about how they met, what he'd done to her at his boarding house, and what he'd just proposed happened. Or not propose, I should say. But her best Judy, whose name also happened to be Judy, was like, wait, Domenico is in the shoe shiner? And Maria's like, yes. Judy gasps and says, honey, every girl within a 20-mile radius has been with him, most of them involuntarily. In fact, Sally, Linda, Jen, and Nancy had reported to Judy saying they'd all had a slice of his beef in the same day. The same damn day. The same day. Girl, go get tested. And not only that, said Judy, Dom has a wife and children back in Italy. He'd been planning on going back there fairly soon, which was the real reason he couldn't marry Maria. Suddenly, Maria's world was spinning again like it had in Dom's boarding room, but this time it was for a whole new reason. She'd given up everything important to her for this man, her virginity, her morals, her emotions. Maria started piecing things together, like the first time they'd met when he brought her that dress to be hemmed. That dress wasn't for his sister. That was for his wife. And Maria was the one to hem it. Like, how degrading. Oh, this man, he just wanted to stick it, lick it, and dick it. Maria was not about that lifestyle. Immediately, she went to her mother to explain everything. And fuck us all sideways with a rusty nail, Mama was not happy. What? She screamed. Not only have you been lying to us about living alone, you shacked up with this date-drugging man slut, and he was married with children. No, not acceptable. So Maria's mom marched her chunky heels into the shared apartment and said, Dom, you dirty dick, let's talk in the back. And she dragged him by the pinched earlobe into the back bedroom. She sat him down and he said, sure, I'll marry your daughter for $200. $200, says the mom, and how can you put a price on love? And why in the fuck would $200 make your mind change? But he just left to go clear his mind, saying, sorry, no deal, no marriage. Okay. Tensions were already high that day from the heat wave passing the city, and now add this into the mix, like what a clusterfuck. But all these problems could be solved for Dom with a drink down at the local pub. He headed 2 doors down to the saloon, sat his sweaty ass down at the bar, and no sooner had he downed his first pint than Maria came in. She walks up to Dom, lovingly puts her hands on his shoulders and says, please, Dom, I love you. Can we just get married? To which he slowly turns towards her and said, only pigs get married. Which is a weird comment, because he was married. Maria straightened up. Dom went back to staring down into his beer, and that was that. Kidding. She grabs Dom by the hair, pulls his head back, and as smooth as slicing into cantaloupe, she takes a straight razor and cuts his neck. Now, a human sprinkler, he looks at Maria, never wavering from the same angry expression. He runs into the street amongst the crowd of onlookers, unable to speak. Looking around at everyone for help with blood soaking his clothes, Dom dropped to his knees and bled out on the street. Not a happy ending for Dom. Maria ran 2 doors down to her apartment covered in blood like a fucking butcher, and everyone on the street had seen her quick little escape, so soon her ass was snagged and thrown into jail. And on trial, she had everything kind of going against her. First of all, clearly this was premeditated. She'd walked into that bar knowing what she was gonna do. Not a cute look, Maria. Secondly, she barely spoke a lick of English. It was broken and Maria couldn't understand what was being said. There wasn't a single Italian in the jury, and honestly, this whole case seemed a bit sloppy. This really made headlines because the Italian community thought this was unjust as fuck. When Maria was finally able to communicate, she explained everything and what had happened and how this was a crime of passion and romanticism. This story just made men's sphincters clench in fear of being overpowered by women, but for females, this story was a romance novel in the making. But at the end of the day, facts were facts no matter what the motives were behind anything. Sure, to her, he was a lying sack of shit, but that didn't give her the right to slice his throat. So the court sentence started frying the electric chair like a KFC chicken wing. Immediately, people started complaining to the governor about what an unjust trial they had just witnessed. Sure, the evidence was there, but did they really take into consideration the abuse she'd suffered? Sexual assault, mental manipulation, lies, cheating, more lies? All of this seemed to have taken a toll on her, and from it, she was dealing with epilepsy and severe mental disorders. This information trickled through the system until it reached the higher-ups and they granted Miss Barbella a retrial. Sensationalism worked its magic, and this time she had all the hearts of the people on her side. A poor immigrant girl who had saved herself from marriage, tricked and assaulted by her dewy-eyed lover, then had her heart torn into shreds by the news of how free his Willie was. All the women understood and sympathized, all the men cowered in shame, and this time the jury couldn't help take more into consideration than the physical evidence. Maria had suffered tremendously at the hands of this man, and what she had done was now justified to the jury. And as the gavel hit wood, Maria jumped for joy because she was free. Her death sentence had been totally eliminated, and she was released from prison. She ended up getting married, having a son, getting a divorce, and then moving back to Italy, where she disappeared into the sunset, never to be heard from again. Which is such a shame because with a name like Barbella, she really could have gone into so many different business ventures. Barbella's Barbells, Barbella's Bars and Bells, Barbella's Butter Biscuits, like the list goes on. But it seems like this era had so many Chicago-style cases. This was just a drop in the bucket, you know? And it's sad that that's how it had to end for Maria. And it's sad that that's how it ended for Dom, too. Choices, people. Choices. But my loves, there you go. Wow, what an interesting story, right? Anyways, my darlings, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. We will do this much more often, I promise. Also, please don't forget about the latest Repop collection. There are so many beautiful goodies. Oh, and thank you all so much for the constant support. My goodness. I am so grateful that over the nearly 2 decades that I've been on YouTube, I'm able to come on here, do what I love, interact with the best fucking people ever. But you also give me the space and the time needed to just step back, go through what I'm going through. And it's like we all kind of go through the same shit at the same time. And there's so many beautiful comments just all throughout my social media of people encouraging each other and just being so lovely towards each other. And that is what the fuck we need. So thank you. I can't wait to be back here sharing cases, telling stories, showing you beautiful makeup, taking you behind the scenes of my life. I'm just so happy that we're here. From teeth to taint to toes, thank you from the tip of them all. But you know my spiel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. I love you all, and I will see you again soon. Bye.